Alright, welcome back everyone. Hopefully I have kind of solved a couple issues because I got a separate mic now, and I ended up buying myself a wired headset to actually utilize the ChatLink Pro. So hopefully I won't have any weird audio things going on. I let it sit for a little while, and while I updated DaVinci Resolve and stuff like that, and I never noticed any weird business go on. I haven't had my headset on long enough to really find out if I'm gonna end up having those weird pops or not, but I actually shouldn't, since I'm getting the sound funneled straight from my controller and the PlayStation's connection to my headset. The other neat thing with this setup is, if I'd ever decide to record anything online, I can do that. You'll hear the other people I'm playing with along with me as well, as long as I remember to have my mic on and ready to go. Otherwise you'll get weird one-sided conversations, which I'm sure the first time or two of doing it that way, or actually streaming or something, will add complications, but it's all about the learning process, I guess, my man. So, as you can tell, I'm in a different spot in this field. It is another contract. It's a 4,000 and some odd change, if I remember correctly. So I'm hoping that between this one and our harvest, it'll push us right up to that $650,000 mark, so we can go ahead and buy that field, get it prepped for next year, and be good to go, hopefully. So I'm going to start here. I don't know how long I'll have you guys watch, but of course the GPS makes it look daunting and makes it seem like you have 5,000 different lines, unless you have the cheat equipment like the Lizard Colossus, where you can do like 50 meters in a row. So that, with all the smaller equipment like what I have right now, it always seems like it looks like a billion different rows when it really isn't that much. It probably will go just a little quicker because I can actually go 9 miles an hour with this, so that does help quite a bit as well. But I just thought, depending on how long this takes, if it seems like it's going to take absolutely forever, I'll probably cut some out. That way you guys don't have to watch it all and be half bored. But I'm going to try to keep it just a smidge shorter, since my last one was pretty darn long again, inadvertently. I did notice that even though I'm a little farther away than what they recommend with my mic, it does seem like it's picking up pretty well. And I finally got smart enough to figure out how to record 2 tracks through OBS. That way I can and adjust things individually as well if need be. So that'll help, and try to get situated just a little better here. But I got stuff all over the place, and guess I got too caught up and too excited about getting back to this. But now that I actually have a decent setup, I can probably even decide to try to explore different things as well. I don't know if I have enough of an audience to actually stream. I would have to definitely be on a weekend, and I definitely have to make sure nothing would come up that weekend and have to tell everybody, nope, not today. But who knows what might unfold. That might be a nice little change of pace as well. I don't know if I will make my videos any longer, since I'll only be doing 2 times a week, or if I should keep them right about the same length if possible. I think that's probably going to be what I end up doing. I'm allowed to kind of keep that task-oriented thing going that way. Otherwise, I completely get sunk in and we'll play for hours. And I don't want to accidentally do that and end up with a 4-hour-long video, which I guess I would just try to find good spots to cut, make some hour-long videos or something. But for this series, I do think it's a lot better this way, because then I do get a little break and can actually kind of decide what I'm going to do and what not, because there was this field that needed harvesting. It was a $13,000 contract, would have been one of our biggest ones, but I didn't want to do 500,000 contracts back to back either. were playing my own private game, then yeah, I'd be cranking out the contracts. I'd probably honestly have the Lizard Colossus stuff too. That way I could really go crazy. The one nice thing is that I'm actually sticking halfway to the plan. I know I did kind of move the goalposts just a little bit by saying 650,000 or thereabouts was going to be close enough to justify buying the field, but instead of sticking with the 700,000 or $1 million thing like I was originally doing, but I do think that we've done tiny farming for long enough. We're gonna have the opportunity to move up into a bigger field, double our size. In theory, we should about double our income that way. Maybe not right off the bat, because we'll have to get the environmental score up there as well. But once things kind of get evened out a little bit, that might help too. Because then that would put a newer, bigger combine kind of within reach even sooner. But one old saying goes, you gotta spend money to make money, so I guess if I get to the point where I can start making closer to 100,000 a year, that'll end up getting us in pretty decent shape, because we can recover what we've spent quicker and save up quicker, so the equipment upgrades might slowly start coming quicker after I finally bite the bullet and buy that other field. And I might actually eventually try to do some of cattle stuff or something too. That way, it'd give us something else to do. Mix it up from just straight farming to maybe having an episode of, oh hey, well, now I'm up to enough cows that it takes me a half hour in real life to feed them, to do those chores, so you could ride along for the day or something like that. But for that, I'm gonna need money. So I think my approach right now is gonna be focusing on contracts, harvest, and hopefully towards the end of the year, or after my harvest, buying that field. You know, it is kind of nice not having to worry about accidentally bumping a mic when I do scratch my face or something. And it did seem to me like I was actually getting a little better quality from this mic for my short little test runs than I was from my Turtle Beach headset. Well, technically, this Turtle Beach headset is Turtle Beach too. It's just a cheaper wired version. But that just means I can leave it plugged in and ready to go, and I can swap back and forth with the other one so that I'm not sitting there having to reconfigure stuff all the time, which in theory I shouldn't have to, but weird things does happen once in a while. Wow, that was very poor grammar. I'm not very picky with grammar most of the time, but that was just wrong. We have probably close to 1.5 rows left, I'd say. The kind of neat part is, I don't think you'll notice my yawns quite as much either. Since I'm not trying to muffle them right next to a mic, this one's a little over a foot away from me, so you might not pick up on that quite as much. So you won't have to sit there and be like, why does this guy always act like he's falling asleep when he's playing? Which I think is mostly just because I get relaxed. And there's the end of the contract. So let's go in. I'll go collect that real quick. I almost chose that one, but even though this took a little more driving, it wasn't too terribly bad. I think I might take a little lazier editing route with these last two videos just to kind of get back on schedule, get things going again. Ramp. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's some air. And really, this little bit of roading will actually go by halfway quickly, just because of the fact that I can go 40 miles an hour, so that's another thing that kind of played into my laziness for this stuff this week. One of these days I will figure out something for opening music too. Or how to speed stuff up, but the way I ramble, that wouldn't work too well. I'd have to mute that track, but until I quit fast forwarding anyway. But at least now I have separate tracks on the recording, so I can probably make that happen a lot easier than I think. And I know I'm just touching the surface, or scratching the surface of what DaVinci Resolve can do, but I don't need to try to do anything super fancy quite yet. Not in my opinion. But we'll get there when we get there. Uh, I didn't, like I said, we'll double check real quick, but yeah, there's, if I had that equipment and the patience to do it, I'd almost say let's go do that. But like this one, you'd literally be driving clear across the map for it, you know. So, well, we'll just go ahead and skip until tomorrow, see what that brings. Should be that September. I'll have another month till harvest. Yeah, that one's still on there. if I had to plow it almost. Consider that. Let's fast forward into about 6 o'clock. Yeah, I didn't think there'd be a whole lot that really changed here, so that one's kind of almost tempting, but I think since I'm doing all this boring fast forward stuff, I might as well fast forward till our harvest time, and or it should be time for us to harvest now. Yep, looks like everything's ready. We'll do one last check. I don't know if that's one. Oh, yep. We got some barley growing. Here's what they did. That'll be the next thing. By that, we're gonna have an early harvest there. But that's okay. I guess that just might be how it is. But I think for now I'll let everyone go. That way this one's just a smidge shorter than what I have been doing, so might give you a little break. Don't have to dedicate quite as much time to this episode, so with that said, I will catch you in the next one for our next harvesting and probably field purchasing video. So I will catch you in the next episode. Have a good one.